I'm Cheryl. Standing in the hearing room, I watched as the gravity of my brother's actions dawned on him. The Oregon Real Estate Agency's investigator was laying out the evidence of my brother Ethan's real estate fraud, and I couldn't help but feel a mix of anger and vindication. It all started during a Tuesday morning meeting in Geneva. I was knee-deep in a project for my biotech startup when a Zillow alert popped up on my phone. There, listed at $1. $2 million was my house in Seattle at 532 Pinewood Lane. The photos showed my carefully decorated living room, the kitchen I'd renovated, and the master suite. The listing agent was Lily Thompson from Elite Realty, and the seller was listed as Ethan, my younger brother, an authorized family representative. I quickly excused myself and called my property manager, Ryan Hall. I'd spent years building my biotech career and was currently based in Switzerland. I'd bought the Seattle house 5 years ago as an investment, renting it out through Ryan's company. When I told Ryan about the listing, he was shocked. "Cheryl, this is illegal. He has no authority. I've got the deed and the management contract right here. It's fraud." I then called Ethan. He answered cheerfully, saying he was doing me a favor. "The Seattle market is red hot, Cheryl. I've already got multiple offers over the asking price. You're overseas. You don't need the hassle." I firmly told him he had no right to sell my house. But he laughed it off, saying our parents thought it was a good move. I called my parents next. My mom, always quick to take Ethan's side, said, "Cheryl, honey, Ethan is just trying to help. You're settled in Switzerland. It's a good time to liquidate the investment." I tried to explain that it was illegal, but she brushed me off, saying I was being paranoid. My family had always downplayed my career. They saw my work in biotech as some abstract thing, nothing like Ethan's concrete job in real estate development. They never asked about my work, never visited me in Switzerland, and never really acknowledged the hard work that went into buying that Seattle house with my savings. What they didn't know was that I was the co-founder of a biotech startup working on a revolutionary gene therapy treatment. Our project had attracted over $200 million in funding, and I was leading a team of 30 researchers across 2 continents. I owned 3 properties in total, all bought with my earnings from this successful venture. Ryan called me back within an hour. He'd spoken with Lily at Elite Realty. Ethan had presented himself as my power of attorney. Lily had verified his ID and family relationship, but didn't ask for actual documentation because he seemed credible. Ryan had sent a cease and desist letter, but there was worse news. Ethan had already accepted an offer of $1.3 million from a cash buyer, a tech executive named Max Reed from Silicon Valley. Max had wired $50,000 earnest money, which was now in Elite Realty's escrow account. I was furious. I told Ryan to contact the Seattle Real Estate Agency and file a formal complaint, and to inform Max's agent that the sale was fraudulent. I booked a flight to Seattle that evening. When I landed on Thursday morning, I went straight to Ryan's office. He had all the paperwork in order: the deed, the management contracts, and 3 years of rental history. Max's attorney was threatening to sue because they'd done their due diligence, but trusted the listing agent's verification. Over the next few days, my phone was constantly buzzing. Ethan called multiple times, as did my parents, telling me I was overreacting. But I ignored them. On Friday, I met with my attorney, Sarah Lewis. She reviewed the case and said it was clear-cut fraud. Ethan had falsely represented his authority, accepted money under false pretenses, and caused financial harm to multiple parties. She didn't recommend family litigation, but I wanted the sale stopped, the money recovered, and to make sure this never happened again. It turned out that Ethan had received a $12,000 advance from Elite Realty against the anticipated commission, and he'd spent it on a new sports car. The real estate agency hearing was scheduled for Monday. Sarah filed additional complaints with the state attorney general for wire fraud. Over the weekend, the family group chat was full of Ethan insisting it was a misunderstanding and my parents telling me to forgive him. On Monday morning, in the hearing room, the investigator laid out the evidence. When asked if he had legal authority to sell the property, Ethan tried to justify his actions by saying he was helping me. But the evidence was overwhelming. I stood up and presented all the documentation. I told them about my successful biotech career and the hard-earned money I'd used to buy those properties. I said, Ethan didn't just commit fraud against me. He committed wire fraud against Max, breach of fiduciary duty, and theft by deception against Elite Realty. This is criminal. The room went silent. Ethan's face turned red. The investigator then referred the case to the district attorney for criminal prosecution. He also recommended a restraining order against Ethan from accessing any of my properties. Lily's license was suspended for 90 days, and she had to complete compliance training. After the hearing, Ethan begged me to stop the prosecution, saying I was destroying his life. My mom also appeared, scolding me for being so harsh on family. But I stood my ground. Actions have consequences, I told them. 2 weeks later, the DA filed charges. Ethan tried to negotiate a plea, but initially refused. Max filed a civil suit, and Elite Realty sued for the advance and legal fees. Ethan's new car was repossessed. My parents called weekly, asking me to drop the charges. I reminded them that only the DA could do that. Eventually, Ethan took the plea. 18 months probation, $40,000 restitution, community service, and a permanent criminal record. His firm fired him, and his girlfriend left him. I flew back to Geneva in January. My Seattle house was still safely under Ryan's management, with great tenants. My team was making progress on our gene therapy project. Ethan texted me, saying he'd never forgive me, but I blocked his number and returned to my work. I kept my house, my career, and my dignity. I learned that sometimes the best way to deal with those who underestimate you is to let the consequences speak for themselves.